Support for Consider This is provided by
There's a new place for senior care with daily laundry service. A place with a day spa. A place where seniors get the care they need in the comfort of home. Home Instead Senior Care.
From the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, homegrown collaboration. Here to talk more about it are Nathan Berry, Dean of Career and Technical Education at Metropolitan Community College, Marty Barnhart, Executive Director for Omaha Municipal Land Bank, and Jim Donnell, founder and president of the Bridge Network. He is also president of BCDM Architects. Thanks to all of you for being here and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Nate, we're going to start with you.
Yeah.
When we talk home construction,
Yeah.
what's a typical conversation like?
Well, everybody wants to know why it's so expensive, first of all. But also, I don't think everybody understands how many people it takes, all the coordination involved, and how complicated the process is. And it's not your grandpa's industry anymore. It's technically advanced. It just takes a lot of coordination, a lot of skilled trades to get the job done.
Okay, and Metropolitan Community College,
Yeah.
kind of on the cutting edge.
We are, and I'm so happy to say that.
Wow, you guys have a brand new building. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, so in fall of 2017, Metropolitan Community College opened up the new Construction Education Center, and it really was the Omaha community getting together and saying there's a huge workforce gap across the nation, and Omaha has been affected by it. So what can we do locally? So with the help of BCDM Architects and the Kiewit Building Group and a lot of industry partners, they built a brand new construction education center, and now we're one of a handful in the country that get to train the next generation of workforce.
Wow, and what is your role there?
So I'm the Dean of Career and Technical Education, so I'm really support staff for construction, manufacturing, and the automotive programs. So I oversee all the academic programs and then make sure that we're aligning our curriculum to meet today's industry standards.
Okay, and what were you doing before all of this at MCC?
Well, I came to MCC for this position. I came from the University of Nebraska out in Kearney, where I was overseeing the construction management program out there. So I had spent about 10 years in the Nebraska construction industry working and seeing firsthand the needs. So when Omaha and Metropolitan Community College told me what they were doing, luckily I was able to jump on board.
I would imagine there were several people vying for that position.
Well, I don't know that for sure, but I was sure happy that I was the one that was left. So.
Okay, talk about the students with whom you work.
Yeah, so MCC has an incredible mission, and that's to deliver education to a diverse community of learners. Mm-hmm. And what that means is you'll walk onto our campus, or you'll walk into one of our construction classes, and you'll see a 17-year-old female working right along a 55-year-old male that has been in the industry for years, and now he needs to be either retrained or relearn some new techniques. So we really spread the entire gamut when we talk about diversity. So the average age of our student at MCC is about 25 years old. So we get a lot of people that have worked in the industry for a few years and now are ready to come back and get that professional degree.
Yeah, I was going to ask how folks are hearing about you. Quite a bit of marketing.
A lot of word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of partnerships with industry. We do a lot with secondary partnerships in the K-12 education here locally. We have career academies in the afternoons where a student that's a junior or senior in high school can actually begin their associate's degree on campus. So we work a lot with the K-12 education.
Okay, I want to give viewers an idea of of just how massive this building
Yeah.
really is, right? So
Yeah.
we're going to take a look at a couple of photographs
Excellent.
of the students in action. Tell us
Yeah.
what we're seeing here, Nate.
So what you're seeing there is you see our students that are building a 1,600 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house inside the building. So this is kind of our center of our building. This is what we call our capstone lab. So you're seeing all of our construction academic areas, whether it's electrical, plumbing, HVAC, welding, civil engineering, architecture, and construction. They all come together to work just in this capstone lab. So this is about 1/10 of the building. So when you talk about the size of the building, this capstone lab really only takes up about 1/10 of the building.
Wow.
So, yeah, and here you see the type of things that our students are going to do in their technical classes. So they're using the most advanced building systems. Of course, you see them wearing their hard hats, their safety glasses, and all of their PPE. We're really, our mission when they walk through the doors, they're ready to work. So we really try to replicate the job site inside the building to get them ready for the industry they're going to enter.
So concerns about, you look at those photographs,
Yeah.
Safety,
Yeah.
things like that, especially, students who are coming right out of high school.
Sure.
So how do you address that?
One is the size of the classes. When we're doing a lab class like that, we really cap it about 12 students, so they have that one-on-one interaction. And the second one is all of our professors came from the industry, so they all have 20, 30 years of industry experience. So they're taking their knowledge firsthand and applying it to the job site. We start every day with a safety talk. We start every day just like you would in industry with a stretch and flex or whatever it might be. We go through our job site analysis. So we really use the building just like they do in industry and get them used to that. So that is by far our number one priority every time.
That is just a wow. The whole thing is just very
It's a great place to work.
impressive.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, Marty, how do you fit into all this?
Well, the land bank is a catalyst for transforming distressed properties into community assets. So we take the properties here in Omaha that might have been code enforcement, tax foreclosed, perhaps a bank real estate owned property, or maybe something that might have been a donation by someone who didn't want it any longer, and we'll offer that property for sale. In this case, when we walked through the construction building, and our staff saw that a year ago, we said to Nate, what would be the possibility of us working with you and Jim and providing the lot where this house might go? And they said, honestly, we've thought about the lot, but we haven't thought a lot about what that place might be. So we'd love that. So we began to look at different places around the community and found this place right across 30th Street, right near the campus, where it wouldn't be a long truck drive, but to be able to put this property on a lot that had been for years vacant, distressed, and now the transformation for this neighborhood is amazing.
I have to ask, because you're someone who's actually been in this building that we
Correct.
just saw, what was your first impression walking in there?
Oh, it was a wow. A wow. Because you can walk into construction on a site and you can say, well, it's a wonderful build, it's a great thing. But when you see it inside a building, and it's a 1,600 square foot home that's being built inside a building by students with the degree of difficulty, energy efficiency, and everything that would go into a brand new home, plus so many more components, and the students are a part of this also. It's a win-win for our community, for these neighborhoods, and of course for the kids who will drive by with their kids and grandkids someday and say, I built that. I was a part of this neighborhood transformation.
That is very cool. And Jim, I like how Marty said, the property is just nearby, just kind of right across the street. And then you think about the pictures that we just saw, right? Somehow you have to get these pieces, these very large pieces, from point A to point B. So that's where you come in again, right, with the Bridge Network. Tell us about that.
Well, right. Well, the Bridge Network is meant to link these opportunities that relate to workforce development and community redevelopment. That was really kind of our mission. When it started, as you could see with the facility and the house in the facility, it came down from the leadership of MCC that was their vision, to create a house and put it on a piece of property. Prior to that, there were miniature or smaller scale versions of these buildings, and then they would end up in the dumpster and the landfill. So the idea was, and the vision was very cool, let's build a house inside a facility and put it on a property here in North Omaha. Well, we all sat down as we were designing the facility and said, how do you do a 40 by 40 building and get it out of, and then, so I had been working on a concept of more of a modular type of construction that it could be done in a facility. And so I brought that in and said, what about this? And when I did that, that helped really, I think, fuel, okay, now we know what to build our building, and that reflected what was built with the Construction Education Center. As we were working through that, though, I knew we could get to the dock, but I really wondered about how do you get it from the dock into the community. Over my career, I've seen a lot of different organizations with visions like this, but they're not able to carry out every little piece and part, either due to resources, legalities, risk, whatever it might be. So I pitched the idea of maybe creating a nonprofit that could take that and literally bridge and connect all these dots so that we could get this vision in place. So that's how we got to where we were, and we're doing everything from the dock, which was to get it on a truck, to get it on the site. And prior to that, we had to build the foundations, and we're now buttoning everything up so they can focus on workforce development and education.
Well, anybody who's ever been a part of a nonprofit knows how driven you really must have been to get that accomplished, because it's not just an overnight thing, right, Jim? Talk a little bit about the process you had to go through, knowing that at the end all this great stuff was going to happen.
Right. Well, 2015 is when the concept started, and then pulling, which we've got 5 great board members that represent all the different entities that are really going to be necessary, from financing to marketing the property to construction, that they all could come together and give us resources to bridge these gaps that we see. So, real simple thing to have Marty have the property, but you have the property, we've got the house, but my limitations within our organizations, which are great organizations, I can only do so much. Yeah. So taking and being able to add the extra mortar, if you will, to pull us all together was really kind of the whole mission of Bridge.
Well, this is honestly collaboration at its finest. I mean, this is just very, very impressive. Now, we talk moving day, and all of us, myself included, kind of have thoughts in terms of what that entails. Not so here. So we're going to put some more photographs up for our viewers. And if you gentlemen could walk us through what we're seeing on your particular moving day.
Well, yeah, so what you're seeing here is one of 3 sections that's getting ready to move out of the building. So we've got what are called air sleds or airbags that help us at least get it to the door and through the door. So you see just some of our students and our moving crew. Each one of these sections weighs a little over 20 tons. So the air sleds allow us to push it around just with a handful of people. So.
Yeah, and then they get it out the door, as you see, with pneumatic lifts and jacks. They get it onto the back end of a flatbed. And it really is just another transport of any goods that you would do on the road, and they're sized so that it can go on the road. We didn't have to lower power lines or anything like that, so it's kind of like a semi.
And what you're not seeing there is those sections. The drywall is hung, the cabinets are in, the countertops are in, the tiles on the floor. So the units are about 90% finished as they go down the road. So,
I mean, Kathy, when you think about this, you think about this could be the new wave of construction. It really is, because it's affordable. It's something that can go right to the site and be up within 5 days. I mean, a new family could not only afford this, who has a lower income, but also somebody could look at the quality of finish and say, we have a house that competes with anything in any other part of the city.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up because I wanted to ask a little bit more in terms of quality. You know, when we're, again, back to the very first question in the program, when we think home construction, what do we think about? So you're encouraging us to think differently and not just about what we're seeing here today, but how this is going to impact us right down the road.
Because our greatest need in Nebraska is housing. I mean, there's you know, without any doubt, without any comparison, our greatest need is housing all across the state. I've traveled the state. I've spoken to different audiences, and whether it's in Ord or Kearney or Scotts Bluff, they all say the same thing. We need housing. We need workforce housing for our folks who are coming in, working in packing plants, in our city jobs. We need people who are going to come in and live here. We can't attract teachers without housing. This is a solution that would not only be affordable, but it's also energy efficient, but best of all, it's well built.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look now. So we've taken our time. How long did it take to move it from point A to point B, by the way?
About 3 or 4 days to get it from point A to point B and then get it all connected together.
Wow. Well, we don't have that much time. So let's just, we'll speed it up a little bit. Now we're at the site, right? So we'll have some more photographs here and you guys walk us through these.
Well, when the flatbeds with the units are brought to the site, the garage isn't in place so they can run parallel to the foundations. There's steel rails on either side that are put on these wood cribs, and then there's rollers that they transport on top. They're little train tracks, if you will, and literally they can be pushed with this bobcat and some people.
What I really love about some of these pictures is the fact that this is setting on a full basement. So, and maybe Jim could talk about the process of getting the basement in and how the industry and the bridge network really came together.
Right, and then not only just to get it on the site, but it's also to introduce new technologies, emerging technologies. Airlight Plastics here in Omaha, who manufactures Fox blocks, they donated basically what it is. It looks like they're Lego blocks that look like coolers. Styrofoam coolers, and they create a form, and then you pour the concrete in it, and then you have the insulated characteristics of that wall. We brought architects, engineers, contractors to get continuing ed credits and learn about it, because there's myths with it. Until they touch it, do they really understand it? But there's some great benefits to it, and here we help promote a business here in Omaha along with an emerging technology, and then we're educating our designers and our workforce.
Yeah, I'm curious, Jim, you're bringing in all these folks. Just like the question about your reaction going into MCC's building. I mean, this has to be, Marty was talking, this is kind of the wave of the future. What's the reaction when people come in and actually see for themselves what you've been able to accomplish through this collaboration?
Well, those that see it the first time is saying, wow, this is great.
Wow seems to be the word of the program.
Those that heard about it up to that point said, I would have never believed it. But yeah, you know, it's just been a great success. And I think we're only probably at 50% of what it can be. We've piloted a lot of things, like we talked about the Fox blocks, but to allow other industries to you know, introduce their new products and things, and teach those to the workforce, and even to create a new way and methodology, because I think Nate mentioned it, our workforce is near retirement age as an average. So coming up with new ways to do things, I think, is going to attract a new workforce. So.
And are you ready for it? I know that seems like a silly question, but people catch wind of this and everybody wants to get on board, right? Are you ready for that?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Our optimism's obviously bigger than our our intelligence.
That's not bad.
The word I hear all the time, not necessarily from the Omaha, some from the Omaha community, but from outsiders, is finally. Finally, a community gets it.
Yeah.
So many other communities look at this workforce and hiring as a competing interest, right? So I can't work with my competitor because I need to hire people and they can't know what I'm doing. And the Omaha community gets it. They realize that this is an issue that we need to work together to solve in. And the model that really Jim created that we're all working on people are saying, finally Omaha gets it. So that's what's exciting. So we're kind of in uncharted waters, which means we head down a path, and sometimes we have to back up and move forward. But what we've been able to accomplish in a year, and already the progress we've made just in year 2. So now we've started our second home in the building, and already the almost normalcy of this is just how we do it has already taken place. So in 3 or 4 years, I really believe, kind of like Marty said, that people are going to say, well, how come everybody's not doing this?
Right.
So
very cool. Let's talk for a minute about inspections. Right. So we see that thing go up right before our eyes, right? And you wonder, okay, is that still the same? Are they still looking at the same things? And how does all that work with inspections?
Great question. So the word's collaboration. So not only are we collaborating, industry is collaborating, but the City of Omaha inspectors. We've met with them, we've talked to them, and they've stepped up and said, well, we need to be a part of this. So imagine how it usually happens is a builder calls for an inspection, and then the mean inspector pulls up, and then it's this debate over what's right and what's wrong. Well, we're changing that. So we build the house per local codes. The inspectors now come into the classroom. They're the guest lecturer for the day. So now they're inspecting the building, but they're having a conversation with the future builders about what they look for and some things that they can do. So not only are they being inspected to make sure they meet city codes, but the relationships are changing between the builders and the inspectors. So that's just a small portion of the things that are taking place.
Okay, now you list the house. Anything different about that? So you have everything in place, Jim. We're getting ready to list. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, so we have the house there, but what about all of what I would call those filler things, the sod and some of the other things that it takes to really get that house ready to put on the market?
Right, that's where the bridge came in. All the or on-site work that needed to be done, we're coordinating that. We hope to expand that even within the education of the kids and students to be other accredited classes and also other learning units. But for the first one, we basically managed all those contracts to get them together.
Okay, so all of that, now everything's in place. We're standing at the curb and we're getting ready to put the sign down, right? So this house went up for sale.
It hasn't yet. We're just finishing up. We got about 30 days, and I think after the first of the year we'll put it, we'll list it. But we're taking all of these resources that were available. I even call them surpluses. Some of them ended up in the dumpster, if you will. Now we've created something with it. Now we're putting it, this is where the community redevelopment comes into, and that's where I become very passionate, because especially in the surrounding area, there's a lot of low and no income type of housing. We're missing the middle, and that's throughout the whole United States, is that we need that middle or middle value, middle income to be infused into the neighborhoods. That's how neighborhoods grow organically and sustain over time. We know that throughout every other part of the city. So this gives, but the problem is the loan to value. So what a house could be appraised for and what a bank will loan it for. So we are taking all these resources and surpluses, putting them together so we can offer the house at an affordable price for that middle emerging income type of buyer. And we surveyed the community and whatever, and a lot of those buyers will go out on the fringes. They'll go to Benson and other neighborhoods to get what they need for their emerging incomes and their and growth. So now we can keep them back home, and they want to be in the neighborhood. So that's going to be the cool part.
So 2 minutes, Marty. We have less than 2 minutes. We've already talked a little bit, actually quite a bit about benefits. But if you had to put in a plug for overall benefits to what we've been discussing today, what would you say?
The number one would be neighborhood transformation. When you build a house like this, it's more than just the people that are across the street and the people that are beside it. It's an entire block. And the entire neighborhood is going to be impacted because something new, something of quality has gone in, and a new family has come also. When you add families, you add services. When you add services, you now add the kind of things that people need. Families need food, and we'll watch these kind of new businesses begin to emerge in an area where food sources, where services haven't been before, but now when families begin to move in, the service providers come back. So the benefits are just amazing. You're going to watch as well over the next few years, the streets are going to improve. And they'll improve because the city will look at it and say, we've got a tax base here. Now we can support and continue to support the streets, the sewers, the utilities, everything that might go into this neighborhood to make this a livable place for families.
Okay, we're talking homegrown collaboration today. I want to put up some websites that connect each of you, right? So if folks want more information, they know where to go. We've got mccneb.edu, then bcdm.net, and omahalandbank.org. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. I wish you the very best. This is very exciting stuff. I wish you well moving forward. Thank you.
Very much.
You bet. Thanks to our students who are working so hard behind the scenes. Of course, our viewers for watching. As we close, a look at Elmwood Park in Omaha as seen through the lens of Adam Ortega, a junior here at UNO. We will see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at netnebraska.org/considerthis. If you'd like to share your comments about this program, call UNO Television at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or send an email to cwyatt@unomaha.edu. Support for Consider This is provided by
There's a new place for senior care, a place with flexible meal plans and 24-hour room service. A place where seniors get the care they need in the comfort of home. Home Instead Senior Care.